everyone, and welcome back to Earn Playbook, where we talk all things finance, entrepreneurship, business from our perspective. This is everything that we've learned along the journey, and we want to share it with you. So we thank you. This is episode 9. You guys have been rocking with us for the past couple months, so happy to have you back. Before I get into today's topic, I just want to do a quick check-in with Jeff and Kojo. It's World Cup season, so I'm excited. Yeah, I love soccer. So yes, talk to me, Kojo. What's up? How are you?
My people, LA, Ghana people, how you doing? No, we're excited. We're excited. We're down. We're excited. I know we're going to win the World Cup. England, all these people. They should be somewhere. Nobody should talk to me. People keep telling me I'm delusional. People keep telling me I'm delusional, but it's up to them. No long talk. Ghana boys.
I know. I think Kojo, you're right there though. Ghana is taking it. And I have this weird feeling that we're probably gonna meet either, I don't know, Brazil or someone.
And we'll score them
through the finals. Easily.
And we'll score them. Easily.
But it is what it is. But it's just for the joy of the game.
I know.
Proud to be a Ghanaian. It is crazy.
And the sun is out. The games are in Foxborough. All of us are going to watch Ghana versus England in Boston. All of us will be in the stadium. And nothing makes me more happier than being able to share this moment with all of my friends. Exactly. The guys coming from Philly, shout outs to Kweku Safo, Nano Ofori, Nana Mofa, Daryl from Chicago, a couple of people come down. I'm so excited. So but this is a monumental period for us.
Yes, once in a lifetime.
If you growing up in Ghana, this was every child's dream. So being here, trust me, it is a dream come true. I love it.
Yes. I know, Stephanie. How about you though? How's the feeling back in DC?
It's good. I was driving. I was in DC. I was coming back from a meeting Friday, and I saw them setting up at the National Mall and then K Street. So there are so many watch parties. There's no reason why you can't watch the game. And even so many the Ghanaian restaurants, they've just been putting out their watch parties. So the city, we're ready, and all my people, we're ready. I was going to host a watch party, but I think we'll go to one of the Ghanaian restaurants in DC. But
oh man, that's nice. And the cool thing that I think this World Cup is actually bringing, there's so many people that in the US that they never watched soccer or football, right? They're like, I was talking to my wife, you mean you never watched World Cup? She's like, no, I've never done it before. Now it's there's a huge buzz around, and people that are non-soccer fans are actually getting it. Because now I have a lot of talking point at work. Mm-hmm. Everybody is in really, really tuned in. And I keep talking about Ghana and all that stuff. So I love this atmosphere. I'm not going to lie.
Me too. Yeah. I'm excited.
Wonderful. That being said, Steph.
Yes, let's get into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, while we're talking about World Cup, let's talk about our own World Cup, our own championship, which is wealth building. And that's what we're going to do. Today, we're going to talk about 2 sides of wealth building, right? So where to put your money and how to create more of it. We're going to break down the purpose of accounts like high yield savings accounts, 529s, brokerage accounts, Roth IRAs, and 401ks. And then we really want to help you think about how to connect those accounts to different types of income, from your job and business income to dividends, capital gains, royalties, all of that. And our goal is by the end, you should have a clear framework for deciding where your next dollar should go and how to make it work harder for you. So Kojo, talk to us. How are we building wealth? What do we do? Because man, big money.
No, big. Again, this is really not saying we are trying to show people how to build wealth. This is when I say try to build wealth. This mainly to do with this is what we've learned, and making sure that we are just sharing that good info. And again, it's things that we've heard over time, and all these different books that we've been reading and people sharing their stories with us, and we felt we are compelled to share that same story with you guys. Guys, recall we've been talking about how to earn more at work, how to get promotions. So I think Jeff and Steph, you guys have covered inflation or creep and basically how people, start earning and they start spending more of their money because they think they can now afford it. So it's critical that now that you're getting extra dollars, what do you do with these dollars, right? And again, this is something that is not some hard-coded thing that is not on the internet. It's truly just on the internet, but we are trying to really centralize all this information and give it to people. That being said, this is just a good segue for Jeff. Take us through, man. Like, talk to us. We've heard all these accounts. Run us through some of the ones that you've been using for your own self, and what do they do for us?
Yeah, thank you, Kojo and Steph. So basically, I'll be quickly sharing a little bit about the HYSA account, and I'm pretty sure people have been hearing a lot about high yield savings account, high yield savings account. So this will be like a very good point where I will at least introduce it to our listeners and just people that don't know anything about it. I will say this would be a very good chance for you to also listen. What it entails is that people actually get into high savings account just to grow their money faster, to cover unexpected expenses or to plan for vacations, big purchases, save for a down payment for a house. And I think high savings account really stands out better than a traditional savings account. So when it comes to the traditional savings account, usually that they don't give you any interest. I'm pretty sure we all know about that. If you keep your money in your savings account just for an emergency fund, it will sit there and will gain nothing. Sometimes I look at my regular traditional savings and then they will give you 1 cent as an interest. And I'm like, geez, with everything that I've been putting around, accumulating nothing. So, and I think that is why the high yield also comes in a very good and clutch moment where at least you could earn something and not just earning your interest. What it actually helps is that you're also gaining more money from the interest. So it's sitting there and then you're accruing money, or they'll say compounding. Yes, sir. Yeah, the compound effect. Like every single time it keeps going high. We use Rockland Trust. That's our main bank, and they do offer like a 3.89%. And I know they are
massive.
Yeah, there are way better ones also out there, especially the online high yield savings account. We all do our research. Well, you could get one that would really help you.
Yeah.
What I would say is, go ahead.
Carry on, Jeff. Now, I was just going to talk about some of the accounts that I have seen online. I think to your point, right? Some of the ones that are online. So one that I found that was very helpful was the Western Alliance Banking. And they do so this is the thing, they get you with a 4.0. They did get me with a 4.0, but I think now it's dropped to like 3.85 or 3.9. I'm not too sure, but it's really good. It's very seamless. Yeah, cruise, as you said, Jeff, you have money there and it starts stacking up, right? Another one that I started using in the beginning was Capital One Savings. Excellent. Really good. So that was really nice. And I think SoFi Banking too has a good savings account. So guys, there are many options that people can use. Jeff or Steph, which one do you use, Steph?
Yep. I have American Express. So I've had that one account for years. But of course it's fluctuated throughout the years. But that's another one that I would highly recommend as well.
Yes, yeah, Jeff. I think American Express is also pretty good because they offer a 3.10 APY, which I think it's fairly decent and it's very good. Just to run a quick number, so at least people can actually know what we're talking about. Just a regular, if you put down $1,000, right, into an American Express with a 3.10 APY. So for 5 years, if that $1,000 you decide that you know what, you're not touching it, it is still there. It is money that you totally forgotten. You could earn $165 just sitting over there. If it was in a regular traditional,
for how long?
For 5 years. Right? I know this is a long stretch, right? But
it's still money.
It's still money. There's nothing like free money. If it was sitting in a regular traditional account, I bet you wouldn't get anything out of it, So that shows you that the more that you invest into a high yield savings account, the better it will be for you. And I think one of I'll just lay out like a few key benefits, right? It has a higher returns, better than the traditional rates, and also has more flexibility than CD account. That's a certificate of deposit account. It's guaranteed money growth. This is not you putting money like the stock market or you doing anything dangerous with your money. This is guaranteed money, and it's also accessible and convenient. So if you decide that, what you want to take out from your high yield savings account, there is no penalty. And I stand to be corrected, but I know for a fact that there is no penalty in that. Unlike if you put the money in a CD account, when you're trying to take out from it, there is a penalty that is attached to it. So high yield savings account is here and it's here to stay. So if you are just putting money in your regular savings account, I would suggest that you look into it. And if you want to feel safe, just go straight to the bank that you actually bank with and talk to them. If you don't trust all these online portals and all that stuff, just go to your bank, ask them, hey, do you guys offer a high yield savings account? And I'm pretty sure they do. And at least instead of you just putting money in your traditional savings, you would then transition it into a high yield savings account.
This is beautiful. Thank you, Jeff. So it sounds like, as Jeff mentioned, every single person, as a bare minimum, try to get a high yield savings account, put your money in there, let it do the heavy lifting for you. You've worked too well for your money to just sit there and not do any more work for you. People talk about passive income and we try all these fancy strategies. This is true passive income. So again, thank you, Jeff. That being said, what other accounts are we moving on to?
And we are also moving up to the 529, right? If we want to also talk a little bit about the 529.
Yeah. I'd love to hear more about the 529. What's the 529, Jeff?
So basically, 529 is just an educational fund, right? And I know people have this notion saying for your kids or for your grandkids or for anyone that you can put them as a beneficiary. People actually, a friend of mine asked me, what if my kids decide not to go to college or not to go to school? And I think there is a notion out there that does the money just go away? Apparently,
right. That's something that in the past, it crossed my mind. I'm like, okay, so if my kid gets to 18, they're like, and it's become a trend now. And my kid is like, yeah, Dad, I don't want to go to, I don't want to go to school again. What am I going to do, right?
No, good question. Yeah, good question.
So for the listeners, what should they do? How should they think about a 529? How do they leverage that?
No, I think you could change the beneficiary at any time, and I think that is one thing about 529 is that in as much as you're locked in, you put in money into it every month, right? For your kids, your kid, as Kojo, you said, your kid, she is 18 and decide that, what, I want to be a soccer player. I'm done with school. Or I want to follow my passion and it's nowhere in line with school. Change the beneficiary. You could probably still keep it there for your grandkids, and I think that is the beauty that comes out of it. You could also use up to $10,000 for student loans. If your kid did accrue any student loans whatsoever, you could, if they also decide that they want to go into trade school, it will also help. The downside of having a 529 is some of the downside are usually when you're applying for scholarship or you're applying for anything when it comes to in colleges, sometimes they have this notion that because you have this 529, you are not in need of that money. Sometimes people usually try to cut corners here or there when it comes to that.
Oh, I see.
And
so there could be a case where I guess this can lead to a broader conversation of, say I have a kid, right? My kid is going to college. They're a very good athlete. They're about to get on an athletics scholarship. But I've been contributing to my 529 for years, right? How do I go about, is it because I have my 529, my kid is not, eligible anymore? Like, how does that work?
Yeah,
or does it not matter? Do I need to be needy? I guess it's a gray area. How do I approach that?
Yeah, I think it's a gray area, as you said, but sometimes it might have an impact on financial aid eligibility because when you are, it changes the whole brackets that you're in, right? People that actually need financial aid, right, are people that need it. So in a way, if you, Kojo, you save all this amount of money for your kid to go to school, why are you stopping? So I think that is how they do see it. Why are you still want more than we giving the money to someone who is really, really in need of it?
Okay. That's
but
helpful.
it is what it is, and
Can it also be a case by case? And again, we are not experts here, but there are account execs, but I don't know the nuances of it, and this is why we are getting an expert here. But I'm just curious as to where the little dynamics come to play. If you get what I'm saying. So Jeff, thank you for really breaking it down. Yeah, and I guess so. If I wanted to open a 529 today, I guess for some of you guys, which ones do you use?
I used Fidelity, and I think Kojo, I think we did this last 3 years ago.
Yep.
So Fidelity, trust me, it is really, really straightforward. You're not going to do anything super crazy. And
right. They don't allow you to actually trade on it, right? Like you don't have a direct access to trade. They do the trading on your behalf. If you want to do that, you have to go through like the very much OG people like Vanguard, right? Like Vanguard, I think you have access to trade directly. Fidelity, if I recall correctly, something that, and this is a bit nuanced. Some of them, they allow you, because the state manages your money, they don't necessarily allow you to trade because the 529 is still tied into the state somehow. So they don't allow you to necessarily trade your money. But I think Vanguard, you can have access to that. And this is one of the ones that we'll try to clarify so that I can get to the best detail. But Fidelity is a great one. I know Vanguard, they have amazing packages. There's a new platform too called public.com. Amazing.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, public.com. I only hear of it because I'm listening to the Rich Harvest every time. And Austin and, and Robert Crook, they're talking about it all the time, and they've shown different ways. And actually, this is me giving them a shout out or saying is a phenomenal podcast where actually, if you roll over your 401k and your money from other accounts and you bring it to public, they give you a 1% match. Meaning, basically, if you had 100k in your 401k and you rolled it over to public.com, they'll give you $1,000 for free.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yep, it's amazing. No, not at all. Yeah, so 529 accounts, they are also good. But again, as we said in the past, some of these accounts are really nice to have accounts, right? Like the 529s, the brokerage accounts, which I'm about to talk about. But again, high yield savings important. That's where your emergency money goes to. And because you want to get some money off it. But if you have any debt, Steph and Jeff really dug into this one. If you have any debt, all this does not matter. Please clear your debt first as much as you can. And I know it's a hard thing to do, but we will all try our best to make sure that we can really take care of our debt so that we can all invest properly. That being said, once you clear your debt and once you feel good, an account I'm more than happy to talk about is the powerful Roth IRA, right? And the Roth IRA is essentially an account that allows you to make monthly contributions or even yearly annual contributions to up to $7,500 once you are under the age of 50. And you can withdraw this money tax-free after the age of 65. Right? So what does that mean? Every single time you dump your money there, it compounds, it's invested into the stock market or any type of markets that you want, stock market, individual fund stocks, anything like that. And it's going to compound over time, right? So that's kind of where you really get the power to of the Roth IRA. Now, someone who asks, how does the Roth IRA really differ from some of, 1K brokerage accounts, right? So a brokerage account, anytime you take money from it, it is taxable. It is taxable income. That's the dividends, the interest you earn, the capital gains that you get off it, it is taxable. The IRA, the Roth IRA, essentially, you can keep dumping money in, right? Once you hit that age limit, which is around the 65 age limit, once you are taking that money, it is tax-free, right? So you don't necessarily pay any tax on it. Now, there's another component, like your retirement account, right? Your retirement, there are two sides of it. We have your traditional retirement account, and you have your Roth retirement account, right? Like whereby that one, what you do is you can actually do a pre-tax on your current tax number, and your traditional account is that one. What you have to do is once you retire, you are withdrawing the money, you pay a tax on your last taxable income, taxable tax brackets, right? And that's where the small nuance is coming. But we'll kind of jump into the retirement account. But where it gives the Roth IRA a good amount of leverage is the fact that, one, you're not paying any tax regardless of the once you retire, you're 65 and you're taking the money out, and which is great. But again, someone might ask the question, why do I want to put money into something that I'm never going to take my money out? And once I hit a certain age is when I can take my money out. That's a great point. The Roth IRA, once you put your money in and you're actually withdrawing your money, you can, one, borrow against your money, right? You can borrow against your Roth, whereby it is not touching your actual money, and you can do that. The second one is, if you go withdraw money from your Roth IRA, you don't necessarily, all you do is you're not taxed on no capital gains that has not earned, right? For instance, if you accrued interest and you withdraw just your principal, you are not taxed because there was no taxable, there was no interest money that you're actually taking from it, right? However, if you go to withdraw and is accrued interest and you withdraw that exact amount, right? Now you trigger the tax that you need to pay on it, and you also trigger a 10% penalty for an early withdrawal, right?
Okay.
Exactly, right. So it's two forms of deductions you are going to get. They are going to tax you, then they are also going to penalize you for taking the money before age 60. So that's kind of where that comes into play. So be very careful how you approach it. But you can borrow against it. One, you can go take your principal, right, where you don't have to pay taxes on it because it's your principal. That's like money that you're putting there. You didn't earn anything on it. You can take that. However, if you want that with the interest that you've accrued, that you have to pay the penalty and the taxes on it.
Okay, so just for a bit clarification, or I'm asking you a question. So, for instance, right, if you did put, let's say, 10 grand, you have 10 grand in your Roth IRA, and then you got $1,000 interest out of it. So from your explanation, if you only take from the principal, that is from the 10,000 that you put in, you wouldn't be penalized. The penalty will come in when you're taking the principal plus the interest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You can withdraw your contributions anytime, tax-free and penalty-free at any age for any reason. This is because you already pay. What'd you say?
You already paid the taxes.
You already paid the taxes. Exactly.
Okay.
So that you can do. What you cannot touch is earnings on it.
Okay.
Right?
Makes sense.
If you earn money, then you trigger the penalty, then you need to also pay taxes.
Okay, makes sense. And also, Kojo, I think there's this thing that has been really going around that people do hear about Roth IRA a lot, right? They do open up this account and they start putting money into it, but they forget to invest it.
Yes.
So I think if you can talk more about it, that would be really helpful.
Think of your Roth IRA. So I think the reason being, when they hear of the Roth IRA and how it works, we sort of tie it into how our 401k works. Because again, most of us, or you have your 401k, your employer does all the hedge funds. These people are the ones managing that money for you. You don't need to think about it, right? So that's sort of the notion that we've been approaching the Roth IRA. But that's not the case. When you actually dump it in, that's you control how you want to invest it. And that's another way where it differs from your retirement account. From your 401k account. Because essentially you control where you invest in. So you can buy individual stocks with your Roth IRA. You can do that. You can, if you have crypto on it, you can buy it. No one will stop you. You can buy, you can invest in the S&P 500. And people always ask S&P 500, we'll talk about ETFs another time. VO, QQQ, all that stuff. You can invest in all of that too. You can do that, right? But you control you being able to invest in that. That's the beauty of the Roth IRA, right? To your point, you just don't go park the money there and go and sleep, right?
You need to do the work.
You need to invest.
Okay.
You need to go and do the work. I think that's where, some people find themselves short of not investing that money. Okay. The Roth IRA is one of the single greatest tools America created for all of us. It's hard because let's do the math, right? Say you are supposed to contribute $7,500 a year, right? Divided by 12, right? That comes down to $625 a month. $7,000 didn't sound too bad. Now $625 a month is like,
yeah, that's a lot. Yeah,
I get this money. Let me just dump it here and not look at it. To our conversations, if you have a car note, you're probably paying this already. But if you paid your car off, $500 can go in. And the truth is, you don't need to pay all $7,500. It is the maximum you can pay. You can pay up to $3,000. You can pay whatever. Honestly, it's your account, and you can do whatever you want with it. So feel free. The whole thing is just try to invest. And we have a calculator here that kind of just shows you the power of the Roth IRA. And they always say this: invest and invest early. Trust me, I was stubborn about investing. So, I was like, if I don't have money, how do I invest? But just to give you an idea, this is nothing crazy, right? So we are going to do a little bit of math here. We have an annual expected return interest rate of about 8%. Say you were 20 years and you started investing in the Roth IRA, right? And you maxed out your Roth IRA, your contribution, mass contributions, yes, yep. And you retired around 65, so you kept doing it till you're 65 years, right? Essentially, your Roth IRA, your balance at age 65, by putting this money in and contributing year after year, you will have $2.9 million. For context, if you start at age 30, it drops 10-year difference. It drops to $1.3 million, right? Now, I'm using a very, very conservative number here in terms of interest rates of 8%, right? If you say, you start at age 40, you go down to $548,000. So you see, it's the power here is a time factor. The fact that it just sits and compound interest is doing all the heavy lifting. And that's why here people really advocate of invest early and let compound interest do the heavy lifting. It can be, as low as $1,000, as low as, $500 every year. I mean, every single year, as much as you can. If you can, again, clear your debt, you can. We would encourage you to invest in that. And imagine you riding off into the sunset with $3 million tax free. Just imagine.
Ooh,
that's the message it's trying to tell you. And again, this is outside of your retirement account. Your retirement account is now coming in, so that one will come in, add to it, and you'll be with Steph shopping in
Cancun.
Monaco.
Yeah, Monaco. All the rich people. And I think, Kojo, right? I heard about Fidelity Gold, right? Where it also, like what you just said about the traditional 401k, where your company will do all the investment and everything for you, so you forget about that. So to my people that are listening, that don't really want to get into all the nitty gritty about investment and looking into all the QQQ or the ETFs and all that stuff, right? There's actually Fidelity Go for you if you want to. Once you put your money there, Fidelity Go will take care of all the investment for you when it comes to your Roth IRA. So there's also that portion. So if you don't want to get into everything, I think you could look into that, and they can handle all your money for you as well.
That's wonderful, Jeff. Thank you. That being said, we jump into my next favorite account. And this account, Stephanie and I, we butt heads over it. It is my favorite, probably just favorite, and Stephanie's dear friend, the brokerage account, the taxable brokerage account. And this account is basically where it's what,
by the way.
Thank you. It's what people essentially call as your investment accounts, right? And this is where people typically dump their money, they buy their stocks. Think of, all the Robinhood guys, all the Fidelity guys, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, all these guys. You put your money there, you're buying blue chip stocks like Google, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, just everything. These are the accounts doing that work for you. And essentially what this brokerage account is necessarily doing is you can actually put your money there. You can withdraw anytime you want, because again, it is not a retirement account, so you're allowed to withdraw as many times as you want. You can make purchases as many times as you want. You do not have any annual limitations to these accounts. You can do whatever you want. The one caveat is these accounts are taxable, meaning if you make a withdrawal, regardless of how you made it, you are going to be taxed, right? So the capital gains that you get, you will be taxed of it. So just be careful. Once you're making money, you can decide, when you're making losses, Uncle Sam would not care. But if you make money, Uncle Sam will be very much at your doorstep. So please just keep in mind, these accounts are basically where you can do all the different trading and tactical trading schemes that you have and all the strategies that you have, but it's also where you're going to be taxed. I love this account because as compared to the standard high yield savings account, as we mentioned, risk is very minimal with the HYSA. So, you put your money there, you don't think about it, you earn your 3 to 4%, you're good. These accounts, on the other hand, as people know, people can be very scared of the stock markets. However, for context, the S&P 500 has averaged about a 10%, a 7 to 10% annual rates, for the annual rates year after year for the past 80 years. Meaning, if you put your money in, right, for context, if you put $1,000, right, you put actually $10,000 in these two accounts, a high yield savings account and a taxable brokerage. You put that in your taxable brokerage. You buy S&P 500 and you get an annual return of saving 7.5, right? High yield savings account, you get 4%. The math is very simple. Here you make $400. Here you make $750. True, on the $750 you pay tax, but it still wouldn't amount. Excuse me. It still wouldn't amount to the money you would have, made
in a high yield savings account.
Exactly. And this is very conservative numbers. It can go as crazy as, 18, 19, 20. People are buying Palantir stocks. People are buying NVIDIA stocks. I know someone who bought NVIDIA stocks in 2019, 2025. He saw his stocks. It had increased about, fourfold, right? Like it was insane. The gains were monumental. You're not going to get that from your high yield savings account. So essentially, many platforms offer you services where you can buy that. You can buy them in different ways. You can buy gold, you can buy crypto, you can buy, ETFs, you can buy, ETFs are the VOO, QQQ. And when someone asks you that, these are basically indexes that track NASDAQ and they also track the S&P 500. And some of them are hedges. We have QQQH, which is, an ETF that is basically a hedge. QQQ that makes sure that your risks are basically low. And I'm not trying to get too much into the weeds of it, but just to give you an idea, there is an array of different things you can buy that can make you money. And there are even dividend sort of ETFs that you can buy where you buy these ETFs and every month they pay you money. This company, they are called News Fund. They've come up with this real strategy of, some ETFs like BTCI, QQQI, SPYI. And essentially what they are doing is every month they generate money for you, right? Like it pays you a certain dividends. And I don't know if you guys knew this at the time. These accounts were very popular, like ETFs, yield max and things like that. That's essentially what they do. Every month they pay you, and you can get into the weeds of it later. How different people are using them to get passive income, and those ones are true passive income, to be honest, because it's just then it comes. But you need more money to be able to accrue some of that. But again, taxable brokerage, I love it. If for me, emergency money sits in my high yield savings because I don't want anything to happen to it when I'm going for it. I don't want to be taxed on it. But anything else, dump into your Roth. Once your Roth is maxed out, the rest goes into your taxable brokerage. Everything else, once those two are taken care of, everything are going into your taxable brokerage. And this is after you have your 401k also maxed out, by the way. Like, do all the basics first, then you go handle your taxable brokerage. All right? Don't be too scared and go and pack all your money in your high yield savings account and have over 100k there. You don't need it over the course of 3 to 4 months. Please try to diversify a bit and you can make some money while you sleep. Truly, for me, I was stubborn. I did not like listening to people who came to tell me about investing. Sometimes I thought they were scams, so I didn't want to listen to them properly. It's like, this guy's about to scam you. Like, I was very ignorant. That's the word. I'm learning, and I realized that when they talk about true passive income, that's the one that I can sleep and no one is knocking on my door that their pipe is best. Or as a landlord, when they say no one is doing anything, you can sleep. And the stock market can stress you small, but honestly, it's still much better than a troublesome tenant when it comes to real estate. So just keep that in mind, guys. I guess that takes us into our final account. Stephanie, what's the final account?
About it. Yes. So 401ks, which I feel like we've all heard if you work for a nonprofit, 403b, but this is a retirement account that we should all be familiar with. if you are employed, typically is offered through your employer. And this is actually, it's a great wealth building. You always hear that it's not, you can't time the market, but it's time in the market. And I think 401k is that access to, you can choose, a percentage of each paycheck that's going to, you'll contribute, and that money is invested. So it has an opportunity to grow over time. And I'm so grateful to my mom for telling me when I first got my big girl job when I was 25 I think I was actually, I don't know how old it was, but anyways, she told me to, I didn't really actually have knowledge of what it actually was. I just remember saying, sign up, get the match, and contribute. And I'm glad I did that because, one day you look and you're just like, wait, I have money. So I think this is such a great wealth building tool. But with the traditional 401k, your contributions, they're generally made before income taxes. So this will help reduce your taxable income. But you will pay taxes when you withdraw the money in retirement. And typically retirement, I think is 65? I can't remember. But you do get a penalty if you do withdraw it before.
So similar to the Roth IRA?
Yeah, similar to the Roth, yeah. So, but I will say too, some employers do offer Roth 401ks where you contribute money that's after taxes. So that
I really like that one. Steph, if you don't mind me just jumping in, think about it this way. So I was trying to explain this earlier. So you know how for every income you are at a certain tax bracket. So say if I'm earning 50k right now, right? I'm probably around like 22, something like that. I forget, 17, something like that. If I contribute and don't pay taxes on it, right? And I'm 65 and I'm going to withdraw my money, the money there will be taxed at my income that I retired with. Right? So say I'm retiring and now I'm making 200k and my income is like 250,000 and my tax bracket is like 30%. That money in there is going to be taxed on that amount, if that makes sense. Overall, it's like you're getting taxed a bigger chunk. That's the way I see it, right? As opposed to if I pay my tax on my 50k now, I'm paying 17% of my income into that, right? So that's already taxed. So when I'm going to take my money, I've already made tax. So right now, because I'm a high earner, which, the older you get, the more your income goes up. I think it's very rare that people come down in income. So I'd expect that your income will be higher and your tax bracket might change. And if you're going to withdraw that money, you'll be taxed on that one. But right now, because that's already been taken out, I do not feel that tax implication on what I've contributed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Thank you. So I'll just add to that one of the biggest benefits is the employer match. So your company, they may contribute money, based on what you put in. So typically
we call that free money.
Yes, free money. So it's like you want to match. So like if it's like some come like 5%, so then you need to give a minimum of 5% so you can get a match of 5%. And so like that's why most people often say you should contribute at least enough to receive that full match, because you don't want to leave any part of your compensation on the table. That is part of your benefit. So whether it's 3%, 5%, like make sure you contribute, and it's automatic. You won't even see it. Like it will already be gone from your paycheck by the time you get it. So,
and if anything,
the habit of doing that.
I don't know if you guys notice, it's one of the ones that builds so fast, but you rarely think about it because, I can't touch this money. You'll be happy when you're 65.
Yep.
Yeah. So, guys, if you can.
So please give. I would add to that. It's important to remember that. Like your 401k, like that's the account, but that's not the actual investment. Like you still need to choose how that money is going to be invested. And that will come from the options available like in your employer plan. So make sure you like understand, like for a long time, I just, I was ignorant. I just picked whatever, but then I actually educated myself on like, okay, this is what I want to, based on the options available, this is what I want to actually invest in. But make sure you're paying attention, of course, like fees, all your investment choices, your vesting schedule from your employer. So yes, definitely.
That's really insightful.
The 401k, it helps you automatically, turn like your, paycheck into money for your future.
Oh, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So, question for you, Steph.
Yes.
Sorry, Kojo, before we go. So when it comes to the 401k, right? Do
Mm-hmm.
you think, because I know that sometimes you need, when you leave a job, right? And then you already have the 401k with them, there is something like vested balance and also the account balance. The account balance will be probably more than the vested because you either left early or whatever.
Right.
Is there a way that you could still get the account balance, that you literally get everything that the company gave you instead of taking the vested money?
That's a great question that I don't know the answer to. But I mean, you
And
typically
this
you
is why
will
we are
roll.
bringing the expert.
Yes, that's why we're going to bring the expert. I'm not even going to try and answer the
Love
question,
it.
but you can roll over. Like I've rolled over. Most places have already been vested, which means like you own. That means that's ownership, right? So you can just, it tells you how much of your employer contributions, from your 401k are allowed to keep if you leave the company. So yes, you can roll it over without penalty, but you have to make sure when you're rolling over to a new company, you're telling them that I am rolling, it's just a rollover. It's not a withdrawal, because if it's considered a withdrawal, then that's where all the tax implications come and then your taxes go higher. So make sure it's a rollover. But we can ask our expert when he comes that question. That's a good question.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. So quick cheat sheet that we put together. And guys, feel free to leave things in the comment section if you do it differently. But essentially, let's say you're already in debt. How would you go about, this debt and making sure that you can start building something, start building some wealth? Obviously, as Uncle, Ramsey will say, start an emergency fund, right? This can range from $500 to about $2,000. Typically, he says $1,000. And just to make sure that you hedge against any risk, anything that comes, you're not dipping back into your credit cards again. You can pay that off easy. Like say your car tires, right? You need to change car tires. Your something with your car broke, things like that you can take care of. Once you do that, you aggressively start paying your debt. That's step 2. Pay off your debt. You start. You can use both ones. You can use the avalanche or the snowball effect, whichever one works. And essentially, you can pay, the small interest rates ones first. You can pay the big ones first. Anyone that you feel works for you, please do that. You pay that one off, and that being said, now this part, I'm not going to tell how people should approach it, but for me, because of the employer match, if I will find myself in such a case, I'll still contribute to my 1K, just because I feel that helps. But some people, I know there's an argument to be made for, if you have a really, really high interest, that you want to take care of that. So even stop contributing to your 401k and just pay that one off. And it's totally understandable. So you can do that. Step 3, contribute to your 401k up to the employer match. Then anything else, you move to your Roth IRA, right? If you're eligible, you move that to that and you try to max that out. Once you feel that you're in a good place, you can increase your 401k contributions if you want to, or you can do my favorite, take everything to the brokerage account and start building wealth, right? Like start really investing, learn more about investing. There are so many resources where you can learn about these things. I learned mine through podcasts. I had no clue. I just found random podcasts and started listening to them religiously, and we're going to share a few here. And just get into it. And the last one is, if you want to, get yourself A529. And not even if you want to, if you have a child, will really encourage you to do that. Savings, education savings is a priority. You will thank yourself. Your child will thank you for making sure that their life is easier when they grow up and they didn't have to go into student loans. I know people sometimes just starting off, when you have student loans, it can be a very Herculean tax, just even starting from points negative. So feeling like you have a lot of, breathing room where your parents were forward thinkers to help you out to pay for your education really goes a long way. I was fortunate to get some of that left off, and I'm sure we all felt it in some ways. So I don't take it for granted, and I encourage all parents to do the same. That being said, Steph, it feels like today's episode, that's what we are getting the expert, but I feel very happy about this episode. I mean, you saw us trying to talk through it. We are learning. Hey guys, if something we said was off, feel free to shoot it in the comments section so that we can all discuss it. We are learning. We are all on this journey together. We want to learn, we want to do better. We want to make sure that we can all, uplift ourselves and get out of this hole. Yeah, Jeff, take us through, my guy. Talk to us. Current news. What's happening?
The current news, right? It's pretty dicey a little bit. Nothing too crazy going out there. My first will be Fox is actually purchasing Roku, right, for 22 billion, and which I think, and I know maybe people really don't care about it, but I have a feeling that usually the I'll say the traditional media, right, cable TV was probably dying away because of all these streaming platforms that kind of took over. And I think this is a way that cable TV says that, you know what, no, we want to get back into it. We want to try to get back into the new way. So they are acquiring all these big platforms. HBO are being sold and all that stuff. So I think it's a good thing that you could know about, that Roku is no longer Roku anymore. It's gonna be for Fox.
And Fox is really building a great portfolio. I mean, if someone should buy if someone wanted to buy some stock, I don't know. I don't have any or their quarterly earnings and things like that, but I'd imagine that, it's something that's getting real up there. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And my second one brings me to Elon Musk, right? This came right after SpaceX raised a record of $75 billion in its IPO. So it literally shot him up real good. So he is on top of his game. And you know how sometimes Elon Musk can go. He could probably just use it all for something else tomorrow, and he will come back to the top. And I think that is one thing about you having a lot of money. You could literally do anything that you want to do.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think one of the key things in this that we will point out is so for Musk, right? One reason why he was able to become the trillionaire is the fact that SpaceX valuation is at $2 trillion, right? Wow. So he owns that percentage of shares in SpaceX which basically ballooned him to that, right? Obviously, with what he already has in Tesla. And for SpaceX, there's a whole bunch of things going on. If you guys remember, he bought X from Jack Dorsey, which was formerly known as Twitter. He also has XAI, which basically, he's basically trying to also partner with Cursor. And Cursor is basically coming in, helping him basically build code that they'll use to, regulate their run their satellites for Starlink and a whole lot of things going on. So all these different facets are all what SpaceX, he used SpaceX to buy these companies, and it basically essentially shots that valuation higher. So for Tesla, for instance, if you recall, he didn't necessarily pay that 40 billion or whatever. I think it was 44 billion. I said Tesla, Twitter, to Jack Dorsey. What happened? He bought that in stocks, in Tesla stocks, if you remember, right?
Yeah,
that's true. He went to use that. He bought that. Then, so when SpaceX IPO'd, basically Jack Dorsey owns 0.06. I was like, why does Jack Dorsey own SpaceX? And it come to find out is the money from Twitter. And Jack Dorsey just increased his money, his billionaire status. So a whole lot of things going on. Some people are saying it's a shell game because he's formed many shells to make this 2 trillion valuation crazy. It's the sixth most valuable company, which is even crazy to me, by the way. Number 6. It is not number 1. Apple is still there. Alphabet is still there. Alphabet is like 3 billion. Nvidia is higher, right? Like Microsoft is higher. I think it's number 6. So we have all these companies that are still higher. That is mind blowing. These companies, trillions of dollars. I didn't even know it could be a number.
Money.
They say the only thing that is better than money is more money. So we have a long way to go.
All right. So Jeff, what was the last one?
My last one comes from our very own AI tool, Claude Fable 5. It's been currently shut down from the US government.
I saw that. I was trying to use it today. They said no. Is it because of the type of security? And they said foreign nationals cannot use it or something.
Yeah, so I think the main reason why it has a lot of foreign alliances to it, and you know how US are not really compatible when it comes to all these foreign policies and all that stuff. So they shut it down. Just for a little bit of clarification, right? That people that don't know about this. So Claude Fable 5 was a highly advanced artificial intelligence model that was released by Anthropic on June 9th.
Interesting. This is after Opus 4.8.
Yes,
right?
It literally just came.
Yeah.
Last week or so, on the 9th.
Yeah.
And then it got shut down. The capabilities of Fable 5 was that it was What it did was autonomous execution. It could do complex, multiple software engineering jobs at the stands. It does video game generation, advanced vision. And also it could design a website for you in seconds. But unfortunately, it's been shut down.
Which is crazy if it designs a website for me. So to Jeff, what you were saying, right? I use Replit and I've used Lovable to generate websites. And I think I did some for you, Steph, some time ago. And I've been using these guys. If Fable 5 is doing what, it's going to leave some of these companies really, really redundant. Like, it's doing everything. I'm already using Claude a lot for a lot of my integrations, right? Like, it's embedded in my Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint. It's in our QuickBooks right now. It's embedded in the Notion we are using right now. I set up agents to give me daily updates. You know me, I'm very bullish on AI, but, we also need to think about security a lot. So thank you, Jeff, for pointing this out.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, I think, we still do have a long way to go. And I think with all these AI tools that are coming around, it is also best to educate ourselves around it. And I know people have this crazy notion that, AI is taking my job and all this stuff. I don't believe in that. I think...
You don't?
I honestly don't believe. I think
there's data to back it up. I agree with you in some way, yes. But I think it does take some jobs,
We should talk about this next time, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm down.
Steph,
down.
You're right.
No. So I agree. It's not, but it is in some way. Like, it leaves people redundant, but I feel it enhances people, right? Like, I think I wrote an article about this that it makes you
I was
better.
about to say that. Yeah, you wrote an article a while ago, and I think in the article you stated that why are we blasting AI instead of learning from it?
Yeah.
So I think that is where, if you learn from it, it will not take your job.
I agree. Now, this was an amazing episode. Listen, again, the accounts are nothing fancy. We all have access to it. I think maybe there are some limitations elsewhere, maybe for foreign nationals. I am not too sure. And maybe we can talk about that in our next episode, which accounts people can open if they are not like
that is a
US citizens, if they are students, if you're a student and you want to invest, like you're an F1 visa student, you want to invest, like how do you go about it, right? So
yes,
I think these are things that we can also touch on. And, Steph, once we have the expert on, he can, open our eyes to more things that we probably told people that were very incorrect. Again, anything you hear, we are always more than happy to talk about these topics with you. And we are here learning and sharing these topics. So again, thank you so much for listening to us on this End Playbook podcast. Next 2 weeks, Stephanie, next 2 weeks, I'll be talking about who is coming on the show. Talk to us.
Discussion around money. We're really excited to have a guest on here. He's very knowledgeable around finances. His name is David, and we're excited to have him here. He's with Willington Advisors, and he's very, very knowledgeable, and we can't wait for you guys to learn from him.
Love it. Thank you for putting this together.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. That being said, it's been an amazing episode. I enjoyed talking to you guys, and we hope the audience will love it too. Again, if you have anything, please leave it in our comment section, our Instagram, LinkedIn, all the social media platforms, and catch you next time. Take care, guys.